all season so far, isn't it? Which we asked you then, which players had the best of the season or best of 2018? We did a poll. This is what you guys said. So top of our poll, Faf de Klerk with 54%. Lawrence, let's have a look at those. We are going to go through a number of individuals now, but what do you make of the public perception?
Well, it's probably no surprise, not only because he's such a key player for his club Sale, but he's also been the key player that's brought South Africa back from the doldrums, really, and igniting everything. And he's such a general. When we saw Sale earlier on in the season, everyone was really worried because they lost sort of 4 out of the first 5 games. But this guy's been the key. He's at the heart of everything they do. I mean, look at that. Defenders beaten, try assists, passes, kicks and play. So fundamental. He's probably as important to Sale as Owen Farrell is to Saracens, as Danny Cipriani is currently to Gloucester. He's such a great player.
It certainly is. I'm glad you mentioned Danny Cipriani because he's made headlines for all kinds of reasons. He often makes the headlines for not being selected, but when he has been selected for Gloucester especially, he's been outstanding. What have you made of him?
Well, yeah, you see, he's gone from Wasps and he's gone to Gloucester, and straight away he fitted in really well. He's, going to the line. He's got a lot of the plays that he likes to run, similar plays to what we saw at Wasps, where, he's put a little kick in here, but going to the line, having runners out the back, runners short, and then you're seeing his passing game here. Obviously, beautiful pass there to the outside, knowing the space. Another beautiful pass here again, under no time. And what he brings to Gloucester is a lot of leadership in terms of being there, making the plays, but also kicking, put them in the right place. So, you know that that's obviously spent time on the training field, going with those plays in pre-season, working with those guys and getting them to run the sort of movement patterns he wants. Every
time we watch a Danny Cipriani underlay, you say exactly the same. He's a joke. That's your line, isn't it? Whatever we show with Danny Cipriani, like shot or move or...
It's Parsons class.
It's class, OK. So from one who maybe hasn't had the England recognition you would have hoped to one who has, Mark Wilson.
Yeah.
If you were picking your England back row for the Six Nations, would he be in it?
Well, if everyone's fully fit, then he certainly forces his way into the selection picture because he's a player who's really taken his opportunity. I don't think anyone would have picked him in their back row in the autumn internationals, but suddenly, because of a number of injuries, particularly at number 8 and, across the whole back row, no Sam Simmonds, no Nathan Hughes, no Billy Vunipola. And he's a very honest player, works incredibly hard. For me, back row forwards, it's all about your involvements in the game, whether that's defensively, how many tackles you're making, what kind of tackles, how many carries. Can you carry the ball and it actually has an impact on the game? Not just running into defenders, but running past them, offloading, creating tries. And he's been absolutely superb. And I wouldn't be surprised, even when everyone's fit, if he sneaks on that plane to Japan, come the end of the year.
Absolutely. Another player who's had a great season has been Sam Simmonds. And I guess he's probably suffered a little bit from England's selection point in the same way you have. Stylistically, his face doesn't really fit. But what have you made of him, Alex?
I think he's been outstanding over the last year. You saw him come into the team for extra last year. I think it was the start of the season, and the ability he gives them to play in those wider channels, his speed out there, his footwork, how explosive he is here in his carrying, gets through the line, and there's runners coming off the back of him. But to come in and do so well at the start, he's a smaller back rower but really explosive, good footwork, and uses his strengths very well.
I want to speak about Owen Farrell because he's not something that we always speak about just because we expect him to be good. Do you know what I mean? Every game, I always feel like we should be speaking more about him pre-match. And not that I've ever played in a team, marshalled by Owen Farrell, obviously, but he just strikes me as that kind of person who kind of drives the standards and you want to follow him.
Yeah, no, I think he's had an outstanding year. Again, you expect such high standards from him every year, but it comes back to the basics with him. Even when perhaps England struggled, he's been the outstanding player there. And he's a massive leader, not just on the game day, you see it, but in the week leading up to it, the training. You said about setting standards, but he's driving those standards every day, every week. He expects the best out of everyone. Sometimes, he demands a lot of everyone, but that's what you want in an organisation. And he lives up to that every day. He's at training. He's always practicing unbelievably hard, and he's bringing people with him. So, dragging forwards with him to do more passing with it, and everything.
One of the best players in the world. You can't say anything more than that. And he's probably likely to go on and become one of the best players ever because he's going to smash all the records that currently exist and been absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.